Hey everybody, it's Scott here with Founding Champions, and as you can tell by the name of this video, it is about how to invest in card games. And well, investing in card games, collectibles, it's about the same thing because collectibles is a sort of investment type. You know, art collections that are worth millions, trading cards, baseball cards, all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm going to start with the basics and how do I invest? You know, how do these guys put away $500, $1,000, $10,000 in a investment on trading cards? Like, what do? They just store it under their bed or in their closet and things like that? What do the big guys do? What do the big names that I see on the internet do? Well, before I tell you that and go into depth, I need you to take me seriously. And so what I've done is wore a nice shirt, and I got myself a nice tie so that you could try and take me seriously. So here we go. Mess up my hair really quick. Put on my tie. So, investing. Why are you trying to invest? You're trying to invest so that you can get a bigger return down the line. Well, what is a bigger return? A bigger return is something like, you know, over 3% a year. I don't know if that's a big return, but that at least beats the interest rate or the depreciation of money. Because for all of you that know about money, it depreciates due to inflation every year. Now, inflation is this natural sort of thing that's average about 3%, and if you have money sitting around, you're losing money. Every $100 you have, you're losing 3% of that. So you want to put that in some sort of investment. Well, a bank account only gives you a fraction of a percent. A CD, you're getting about maybe 2%, worse sometimes. So we need to put our money into something that's working for us, for those of us that have any sort of savings. Now, before you start up any savings, you do need to make sure that you're not in debt, in any sort of credit card debt. If you're in debt to a vehicle that's like 3% APR, that's fine. 11%, you're going to pay that vehicle off first. You know, if you have a mortgage, maybe you want to pay off that mortgage first. It depends on what percent that you're paying. Now, I do have a car loan, but I pay only 3.4% on my APR, but my investments bring me over 8%. So if you think about it, if I use my money to pay off the car, I actually make less money. So you just have to factor that in. Now, how do I invest? If I have, say I've got a few grand, a couple grand, just a few $100s, how do I start investing in trading cards? Well, you can invest in different sort of ways that relate to the market. For example, if you're trying to see what card is going to spike, what card is going to spike in value. See, oh, this card is only like $1, guys. The card's $1. I think that this card's going to go up in value. Well, if it goes up to $2, well, you've doubled your money, right? Well, you also have to factor in how you're going to sell the card and move the cards. So you're going to need something bigger than doubling your money in some cases. If you have if you buy a box that's worth $100 now and it goes to $200, well, you can sell that for $200 and you'll pocket quite a bit of money, you know, maybe about $50 or a little more than $50, you know, after fees. So if you're trying to sell on something like eBay or sell to a store, stores usually don't buy for full value. They usually buy for about the 50% range, depending on what they're buying. If they're buying on something that's very high ticket, like a dual land or something, their buy lists are usually very close to the sell lists. It's that they're very easy to sell to. They usually buy all of your good cards, or especially in good quality. So where I'm going to go with this is that singles is one way to invest. That is one way to invest. It's like a penny stock. It's like just a sort of stock, one single stock. That's what that is. Or you can invest in a box, which is more like a mutual fund in that. So every card in there is like a little stock. You don't know for most of those cards what the card price is going to be. You don't know if it's going to be good one day, bad one day. A bad card now could become a good card later. So that's why we will invest in an actual box. So, you know, this is a Warhammer channel, so I will show you boxes and cards of Warhammer. So you're going to have a bunch of cards like these. You can invest in any one of these cards. You can do buyouts. You can go online, buy them all. You can trade everybody, get up on a horde hoard a bunch of cards. You know, maybe not these ones. Like another card that people think is really good that's underrated is Aetherwing Scout. Very cheap card. People are like, oh, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of them. Well, I don't know if you're gonna get good returns on that. But how about a box? Now, what if the next set is released and they don't make these anymore, and a card goes up in value? Things like that. Suddenly, the box price starts to rise. And, you know, there's cool-off periods. I can get into very big detail on that. However, I'm not going to. It'll take you a few years before the box is going to go up in value, before it goes down in value, and make you look like, you know, you did a wrong thing. But generally, buying a sealed box is good to go. Even in Magic, there are some bad Magic sets where it's fine if you get it on fire sale, or if your entry point's really low, getting that box is fine. Now, with trading cards, you can get quicker returns. And over time, a lot of trading cards, the vast majority of them, go down in value. A few of them will go up in value. It just depends, and sometimes it's hard to see which ones are going to do that. Especially with a new card game like PlayFusion, we don't know their track record in reprints. You know, a really good popular card could get reprinted. They haven't come out and said, we will never do reprints. They have not said that. So it's starting to look like single cards is not probably the best investment. Okay, so we have single cards, and then we have sealed product boxes. Next, we have other kinds of like old collectibles. When I say collectibles, I mean like paraphernalia, merchandise. Another thing that you can do for Warhammer on a collectible item is sort of their pins, like this. This is an exclusive pin so far. I have not seen these on the market. I have not seen anybody have these. However, you know, I think that they're going to start giving these away to people that are in their judge programs and content creator programs and stuff like that. I think that's who's going to get these pins. And one day they could be worth something. Who knows? The vast majority of things are not worth something. If you have those founders packs, you have those little books and things like that. You know, you have this, you know, dear founders, thanks. You know, this thank you card's probably not worth anything. Then you have the little books. You know, I have my book. I haven't touched it at all except for looking through it. I haven't written in anything. It's still blank pages. This could be worth something one day. It's a nice book. Probably not. It's worth a lot more inside of the founder's kit. And that's the fourth topic that I'm going to get to right now, is the founder's box. I'm going to go grab a founder's box, be right back. Alright guys, are you still with me? Okay, cool. So, this is my last for sale founder's pack. Actually, it's not for sale. I just sold 2 of them for $500 a piece. As you know, this came out at $200, so obviously more than doubled my money, but about $50 was eaten up in fees and all that stuff, and, you know, all that stuff that, like shipping, you know, hate that stuff, right? But a necessary evil. I'm going to open this Founders Pack, and you'll see that the Founders Pack is not an actual sealed pack. You can open it, but there are components to this pack that are sealed. Now, this is where you're going to make a lot of your money, is the sealed collector's edition stuff. So, this here is a sealed Celestin Prime. It's sealed. You can't reseal it really without knowing. People that are knowledgeable in the industry will know if it's resealed. It'll be pretty obvious, you know, you can look at other videos of resealing, but everything else is unsealed. So the Founder's plaque, this is number 320, if any of you are trying to keep track of plaques, 320 will be sitting in my storage area and not be sold. So I'm gonna try and hold on to this one for the future. We'll see what kind of return we get, because there are going to be very few in the market. So collector's edition stuff. Collector's edition stuff. You can get massive returns in collector's edition. I just watched a YouTube video of a guy that went many thousands of dollars in on Diablo 3 collector's editions, and he got $10,000 profit. And I'm sure you can Google that and see who did that. He does live in Jacksonville, just down the street from me. You know, he's not a personal friend of mine, but I do watch his stuff. And I was like, well, $10,000 profit. Well, obviously, you know, Diablo 3 is a great game. You know, it didn't turn out to be the best of all time. It's a good game. And he was like, let's go all in. And he did. Made 10 grand profit. I'm like, okay. So, you know, I really wish I would have bought more of these Founders packs. Okay, number 5. We go into number 5. So I did 4 singles, sealed boxes, merch, collector's editions, and now number 5. Number 5 is not an actual tangible item that you're going to sort of invest in. Number 5 is the content that you can put into the internet, like making YouTube videos, having a Patreon, or just being a good card game player and becoming getting sponsored by other people. As of this time, at the filming of this video, I have a t-shirt sponsorship. So, you know, there's no pros in this game yet, but I'm having another business owner send me a t-shirt, and I will wear his t-shirt. So that's our agreement so far. You know, in the future, I'm hoping to get dollar amounts, all right? But right now, it's just a t-shirt. So, you can become an article writer and things like that, and that's the investment. You put those things in, you hold them somewhere, and then you can sell that package. You know, you don't give it to everybody. A lot of it is free content, but some of it's not free content. You have to pay. So, Star City Games, you go on the website, you want to see some Magic content, some good Magic content. You have the Select, and you got the Premium. The Premium you got to pay money for, so they constantly up their prices. Now, what does that mean in terms of investment? Well, you're investing your time for something else to come in. And over time, as you make more videos, people in the future will want to go back and see your old content, and they're putting money in for that. So you're putting time in now for money down the road, because you're just not going to get much at the moment in a lot of these games. And because of new technological advances and YouTube and Twitch, more people are doing something like this. So your returns, the market's getting cornered, it's getting busy. Now, number 6, say you are a business owner. I know many of you aren't business owners, but becoming a business owner is not too particularly difficult. But for some people it is. But if you ever do become a business owner one day and you're like, well, I want this stuff. Well, if you are a business owner, you can put your application in, you can do all the paperwork, take the pictures, do all this and that, all this different stuff. It's quite a bit of stuff. And then you get your licensing, and then you get your accounts with distributors and things like that. So it's a multi-step process, and it costs money too, by the way. It's not free. I've spent about $200 doing all this stuff. And forget if you're trying to get an FEIN, it's another $200. But for a lot of people, you're not going to need something like that, like an FEIN. So you spend about maybe $100, depending on where you are. I came from Alaska. I was living there for a few years. $50 there. So it just depends on who you are, where you are. The business side, if you have your own business, like some people, selling trading cards online. So you buy a whole bunch of product and you sell a bunch of products so you can pay off those credit cards. So that's what a lot of people are doing. That's what a lot of people, we call them flippers. They buy a bunch of stuff and they sell it immediately. Resellers, flippers, they're flipping because they have to pay their credit card at the end of the month. Now, investors, okay, the difference between investors and flippers is that when you charge that credit card and when you pay in cash, you do not need to sell it right away. So now back to the Diablo 3 example. His name's Rudy, by the way, so shout out to Rudy. He lives here in Jacksonville. Big plans. I can't wait for him to open up his real Magic store. And I can get into something like that later by request. But so he bought into the Diablo 3 collector's editions, and collector's editions for a lot of other games. Now, it's not every collector's edition. It has to be a set number. So for Warhammer, there was a set number. I'm the only guy who bought 5, and I only bought 5 because, again, I got hit by the credit card. I was like, I could only buy so much. My credit cards were getting maxed because I was buying boxes and everything, and so that's just how that worked out for me. Now, but I had other avenues, but we're just going to get our toes wet, and that's why a lot of resellers are getting into the business late because they didn't have any faith in Warhammer, and I did. So you have to sort of know the market, know who you're dealing with. You can't just go into every little card game. You can't just go into every corner, buy every collector's edition. You're going to get hosed a lot if you do that. You have to be very selective. And the collector's editions here, they have a plaque showing how many there are, so there are no more than that 1,000. Or if there is, there's not any plaques. There's not going to be 2 plaque number 5. There's going to be 1,000. That's it. So, where was I going with that? I'm rambling a little bit. So, being a business owner, people have to flip, so to invest. Now, you gotta hold on to the product. So an example, I'm holding on to this Founders Kit, this Founders Pack. I've paid off. I've well paid off. I bought 5 Founders, sold 2 for 500. You see I've got 3, so I'm holding on to one. One's mine. So the other one, there's something going through with that, so we'll see, a little deal going on. I'm hooking up a little buddy of mine. So, I've got one I'm going to hold on to. So that is the investment. It's not going to be my retirement or anything. It's just one box. But that investment, when this game takes off, I'm going to be able to sell that for who knows how much, really. I don't know how much. And if we all knew how much, then my goodness, we would have all held on to it. Opened it up, just be like, I'm not selling it. So if you can not tie up your credit cards and make those big purchases and put it somewhere safe, that is a really good investment into trading cards and collectibles. You can do that similar model with any sort of collectible item. And there's a lot of business owners that have, LGSs, some old LGSs that's been around since the early 90s and 80s that are holding on to cases of stuff. So I'm going to show you right here. This is a case of boosters. A case of boosters. So I'm holding on to that. That is one case of boosters. I have several cases of boosters. One case of boosters is going to be held on to until the far future. Maybe I'll get burned on this case. So we'll see. It's only a case. But maybe the case will go up extremely high in value. We'll see. It just really depends on what goes on. And it's the same thing with a lot of small card game shops, is that they'll hold on to like a half pallet of cards, of old cards, and then they just stack them up in the back of the shop, or they'll go into their storage facilities. You pay like 50, 60, 100 bucks a month, and then they have these little very nice temperature controlled storage facilities, like I know some people do, and inside they just have lines of boxes and boxes of cards that are all just sort of appreciating in value. So you can hold on to boxes like that if you're a store owner. Now, how do you do that? I'm sure there's a lot of stoners. Well, our store owners can barely stay afloat. They're thinking about closing business. The only way they're making money is selling chips like a convenience store, and drinks and cookies and things like that, candy bars. So what you do is when you are profitable, say you've sold, let's say if you're big name like Rudy down the street, say you've sold $100,000 worth of stuff, just grossed 100 grand, in all your little businesses and everything. All right, so because I know he owns multiple businesses, so he grosses 100 grand in that one quarter. Okay, so in one quarter number 1, he grosses 100 grand. Well, because you are a small business owner, you will pay 15%. What is 15% of $100,000? It's like $15,000. Okay, so you need to do write-offs. You go, okay, well, I grossed 100 grand, but I bought all this product, so it cost me 60 grand worth of product, so I got $40,000. Okay, you got $40,000. 15% of $40,000 is $6,000. You still owe the government $6,000. How do you not owe so much money? Well, you just got to keep bringing that profit margin down. And so the way they do that is they buy those investments. You're like, whoa, hold up, guys. Take me seriously. Okay, Ty, think about it. Profit, 4,000, 40,000, okay? What if I buy $20,000 worth of investments? What if I buy $30,000 worth of investments? Okay, I'm going to spend $30,000 of my straight profit, okay? Profit. So that would normally be 40 grand in my pocket to go buy a car, to go to dinner, to go give to my aunt's goldfish, whatever. Okay, so they're not, but the thing is, their profit gets smaller because of taxes. Well, let me turn my profit into business transactions, into product. I'm going to buy these product. I'm going to buy 10 boxes of Revised. I'm going to put one on eBay and the other 10 I'm going to hold on, or something like that, right? So you're not doing anything illegal. You're just holding on to the product. You're not selling it now. You are selling some of it. So, there's no non-legalness about it, okay? So you're holding on to it. You're putting it in a storage area. So now, guess what? You pay $1,500. $1,500 is a lot smaller than $6,000. All right, but the thing is that $30,000 worth of investment that you've put in, it's still worth 30,000, but then down the road it's going to be worth 40,000, 50,000, 60,000. So you see how, this whole concept of the rich gets richer. Once you have a lot of money, you start steamrolling, as long as you don't get hosed too badly too many times. So you're going to steamroll into making more money. You're going to take all that product, take all your profits. So, on my tax return, I'm going to show that I'm not profitable, and you can be not profitable 3 times. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but you can be not profitable. Every year doesn't have to be profitable. You're going to be profitable $1. Take all those profits, and I'm going to put it into some sort of investment. Now, obviously, you're going to need money. So if this is your full-time job, which is not my full-time job, you take that money, and you're going to need to, pay rent, pay all that kind of stuff. So you're going to get taxed on that amount of money. You're going to be, okay, what are my bills? So, okay, if I'm making 40 grand this quarter, I'm going to do 30 grand, like I said, 30 grand in investments. And I can, in 1 quarter, survive off 10 grand. I can pay my car bill, I can pay my cell phone bill, my electricity insurance, all that stuff off of my 10 grand. And that 10 grand is really going to be 7.5 grand or 8.5 grand, because, 1,500 is going to be given to the government. So if that's how the numbers work. And I've been pretty close to the numbers, but whatever. 15% of 10 grand is going to go to the government. You're going to take whatever's left of that 10 grand. If you can pay your bills with that, sweet. Pay the bills. I know there's a lot more other tax things, there's other fees, all possible returns. There's a lot of other factors. It's very confusing, but for the purpose of this video, it's just I'm breaking it down to that. Like, how do they spend so much money on investments? How are they doing this? For the rest of us, if we have a full-time job, your company takes 7.5% of that 15% that you pay for taxes, and then you pay the other 7.5% through your paychecks. Then for most people, you get a return back. If you make just absorbent amounts of money, you don't get a return. You actually have to owe the government more money. So if you have that fixed income where you're not having your own business model, where you're not able to write off, you can't write off the box that you just purchased. You can't write off if you work for Walmart, if you work for Blue Cross Blue Shield, for 40, 50, 100 grand a year, and you buy a box of magic cards and you're not a business owner, you can't write that off your taxes. Okay, so you're straight up paying that. You're not getting any more discounts. You're not. You see what I'm saying? So when you're writing it off as taxes, you're getting an extra discount on that. So that instead of paying 6 grand, you're paying $1 grand. That other 5 grand, just divide that between what you purchased. So everything you purchased starts to look a lot cheaper. On top of using cashback credit cards and other things like that, which everyone should be using anyways. So especially if you get stuff on fire sale, well, the price just keeps coming down. Saving money on taxes that you would have spent otherwise. Saving money on, cashback credit cards. Saving money because of fire sale. Things like that. So saving money by not buying stuff at full price, or, instead of buying a box of 7680 of Warhammer, you're buying the box for 45, depending on, how high or low volume. So I can get in a very good entry point because I've spent the work, the paperwork, the sweat, the cost, the dollar amount cost in becoming an actual business, right? And doing the taxes. So there's just a lot in becoming your own business, and depending on your legitimacy and your level of business, many distributors won't accept your application anyway. So you can go through all that trouble, and then they won't accept your application. So you just have to become legitimate on a certain level. And the most legitimacy is having your own store, pictures, glass open, sign on the top, cash register. That is the most legitimate. And there's different levels in between there. So I have 5 distributors. There are more than 5, but not all of them are willing to take my level of store. So, which is going to upgrade here in the next few years. It's going to be an actual brick and mortar, but it's going to be more of an it's not going to be always open. It's not going to be just everybody can walk in, whatever, lights always on, employees. It's going to be, certain set business hours. People can come in and buy things, and there's going to be a little bit of playroom if they want to play a couple games. So that's level 1, because I'm not trying to go all in and just go out of business. I mean, we can all think of card game stores that have gone out of business because they just decided to go all in with only like 10, 20, or 30 grand. You know, I'm going to go in with, you know, at least 50 grand. Okay, I ideally want to go in with 80 to 100 grand so that I can have a full shop and actually be extremely legitimate, you know. All right, so that is how you invest in collectibles, specifically cards, trading cards. And guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you took me seriously because I'm wearing a tie. And of course, thanks for watching.